kind of believing in the Phoenix Suns just a little bit. Just a little bit. Kind of believing what I'm seeing.
Man, that's great. Why? Why are you believing what you're seeing?
Let me be clear. I'm not saying I like, hey, they won 2 games in a row. This means they're better than Boston and they're better than Denver. I'm not saying that, but
here at Globo, Jim, we're better than you.
We know it. No, but I mean, I've been saying for a little while, I do wonder what this team does in a playoff series because we're
better than you, and we know it.
Because they do.
Oh, we know it.
They respond to losses well, and they respond to wins terribly, and that makes for a lot of 7-game playoff series. And if you get me to a Game 7, I'll take my chances with the team that has a guy in Devin Booker that could just put up 50 on any given night and also has Kevin Durant and some of these other pieces. Yeah. It's not ideal. They wouldn't be my pick to win the title right now, but I'll maintain that they would be on my list of like 5 teams that I think could win it. They'd probably be 5th, but they're on that list.
You know, right now, just based on the last 2 games, it'd be really hard to disagree with you. It would, but that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Well, there are 70 previous games.
I'm just saying right now, honestly, I get it. Man, what they did against New Orleans and what they did against the Cavs last night, if you watched it, brothers, they dominated that game, man. They dominated both of those games at some point. I know that the Cavs made a run, of course, as you're always going to get, and so did the Pelicans as well. But the Suns took care of business against the Pelicans and against the Cavs. And they won those games. They were up huge. What were they up in this game? 28 points?
Yeah, this is the 2nd game in a row that they jumped on the opposition early and then just really didn't let up a little bit, like you said, in the second half.
Exactly.
And they're good teams they're playing. They're going to make a run. But at the end of everything, Cleveland's run in the second half was that they outscored the Suns 54-50. You know what I mean? So, and when you have as big of a lead as the Suns had going into halftime, you can lose the second half by a couple points and be fine.
Yes, the Suns, this is the kind of consistency we want to see. It's 2 games, though. That is the thing right now. Do it again. There is nothing wrong as a professional athlete. We know how talented the Suns are. We know how loaded with talent they are. We know about the big 3 base earnings, but you know what? Prove it. I've been talking about this for a long time. I'm not coming off this. Just prove it. Why would any professional athlete care if you wanted them to prove it? I've said this before as well, and I'll continue to say it. I want to see this kind of consistency and this kind of effort. Doesn't mean they're going to win every game. Doesn't mean that. I want to see the consistency and the effort from the very tip. And guess what? We saw that again, did we not? They came out and dominated the first quarter. That's 2 games in a row.
Another 40 from Devin Booker, so just following up a 52-point performance with just a casual 40. No big deal. I do wonder if he is really just sort of taking ownership here of the end of this season and into the playoffs. And now if you look at this 10-game stretch that we've all been looking at for so long, so far, they're 3-1 in this 10-game stretch. Here's Kevin Durant afterwards.
Yeah, man, we wanted to come out here with a sense of urgency, knowing that these games are super important, each game. And this team here is, they can come in here and put points on the board. So we wanted to just make sure we were, engaged on every possession defensively, rebounding the ball, and we was able to move the ball as well to get some easy points.
There's a couple ways. What would you have done if he said rebound the basketball?
Yeah, that would have been awesome. If he clapped his hands, that would have been cool. But
to me, there's 2 distinct ways to look at this. There is hey, if you could do this all the time, why haven't you done it up to this point? That's certainly a way to look at it, and I think it's a fair question. I'm trying to look at it through the scope of what we're seeing now is because of what they've learned over the first 70 games, and they're putting it together. They may go out there and lose the next 3 in a row. And then that maybe is out the window. But I'm seeing little things that they weren't doing earlier in the season. And I just wonder if that is a team that big picture is still relatively new to each other, maybe actually just learning over the course of the year.
Yeah, once again, I think what KD said right there was right on. It was spot on. And I love the fact that he's saying we came out with a sense of urgency. A sense of urgency. A sense of we've got to prove it. We've got to go do it. And that's why, once again, Luke, I think you're probably right on this in regard to, hey, this is something you could get behind, the way they played the last 2 games.
Just hoping.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I know that. And you're a positive guy. You're just like I am. I am in an eternal optimist. That's just who I am. I always have been that way, and I always will. Yet at the same time, this is a team based on how they have played that demands satisfaction, and that satisfaction is going to come in the form of you prove it, period. And that shouldn't be a slight to anybody.
No, and they've shown this year. I mean, I 100% get it if you are a Suns fan and you're disagreeing with what I'm saying, because they have shown this year, if you really start to buy in and believe in what they're doing, that they will burn you. They've shown that over and over. But all the twists and turns in this weird roller coaster ride, the playoffs are 7 games away.
Mm-hmm.
And they are in a top 6 spot right now. A lot of that's going to hinge on what happens on Sunday against New Orleans. But right now, they are back in a top 6 spots. Playoffs are 6 games away. And it's not like they've been eliminated. You know, all the down points this season, it's not like they were ever eliminated. I guess they were eliminated from the in-season tournament back in December. But there's everything that they want is still in front of them, and they're playing their best basketball at the most important time.
Yeah, honestly, right now, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right? We've been talking about this. Mr. Hyde was a monster for the most part, ladies and gentlemen. And the Suns need more Mr. Hyde. They need more of that. I think Dr. Jekyll, what a nice guy Dr. Jekyll was. Go ahead and Google it, my young crunks. What a nice guy. What a very affable human being. Yet at the same time, he had the dark side, the Mr. Hyde side. And this is what I want to see from the Phoenix Suns, metaphorically speaking, when they play. More of the nastiness. I think sometimes the affable nature of Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal, I think sometimes, rarely do you see that combination of superstar swag and a lot of humility. Rarely do you see this, and I love the humility that they have. But sometimes you can just smile and laugh your way through competition, and sometimes you can't. And right now I want to see no smiles from the Phoenix Suns. I want to see Mr. Hyde, more of that in how they play, and a little edge, and a little nasty. They need that.
Yeah, I feel like last night was some no-nonsense basketball. It was more of what you're talking about right there, that sort of attitude. We're going to jump on Cleveland early, and then we're just going to end this game. And they did not have Grayson Allen either. I mean, you figure in the playoffs, you're going to have another weapon there in Grayson Allen.
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.